One thing you don't do in Australia, you don't cheat, and the boys cheated.
I wasn't going to bring it up, actually, Stokes' innings in 2019, but as you mentioned it, we'll have a little chat about it.
We did this documentary called The Test. Holy I reckon 1 billion Indians have watched the documentary. There's one scene you cannot put in, you've got to cut out.
I was going to say, for all that you've achieved in your career, and everyone knows you for now kicking a bin in an Amazon dock.
Yeah, that's right. I did kick the bin. Harmison bowled the first ball of that series, and it flew past my nose. Everyone was walking towards me as if to say, it's on here. Call it Bazball or the aggressive approach. I think England must play that approach in Australia.
Joining on the Seven commentary team, how do I survive as a Pom?
Oh, especially you, Broady.
I've faced them all. Wazzy Makram, Shoaib Akhtar, Wacky, and you get out to Jack Chantry.
I'm Stuart Broad, he's Jos Butler, and he is Justin Lang, a legendary Australian batter and now very successful coach. JL, thanks for joining us. How's London treating you? Must feel like a second home after your time with Middlesex there.
Oh, it has, Broady, and Jos, thanks for having me on. It's been awesome. I've loved the tournament for one. I think there's massive, it's been great for the last 4 years. I think there's also massive room for growth with the 100 tournament. It's been brilliant. But London, like you say, I came here when I was 18 years old and played for the Old Mill Hillians Cricket Club. And I've it's literally North London has been a second home since I was 18. So it's great to be here. 3 years at Middlesex and Lords. I'm going to literally sound like a cricket tragic here, but Lords, I would nearly say, is my favourite place on earth.
Really?
So to have played 3 years and now to be back here, it's a great thrill and I'm loving every minute of it.
JL, just as a sort of coach, and you come into the Spirit this year, how do you, like you said, it's a quick and frantic tournament. I'm sure you only had a few days when you turn up. How do you, as a coach, come in and create an atmosphere, or what are your sort of key principles when you're coaching to come into a franchise world? Yeah,
it was really interesting, Jos, because I arrived in London on the Thursday. The boys were still playing county cricket. The test match, which we've got to all say was one of the all-time great test series. And I actually flagged that months ago that we have Ollie Pope and Jamie Smith. As it turned out, Liam Dawson and Jamie Overton were involved in the last 2 test matches. But after such a tough series, and we've all played in them, mentally they were going to be exhausted, right? So they finished the day before. I arrived on the Thursday. I met all the players on the Saturday for the first time and the first taste of 100 cricket, and we played on the Monday. So it is difficult. I was actually asked that question in the job interview by, it might have been Owen Morgan actually, tell us about culture. And I said, well, actually in the 100 and in IPL is a bit different because you have a more extended period and you're sort of talking and involved in it for most of the year in one way or the other. But they asked, what's culture? And I think they might have been expecting me to go on with some of the cliched stuff that people do. I said, well, culture in the 100 is winning, because that's what it comes down to. There was this old footy coach and voted as the number 1 AFL player of all time. His name's Lee Matthews, and he's just like a legend of AFL footy. Won 4 premierships, great player. And I remember when I first started coaching, gents, and he said, I'll tell you what coaching is, boys. And there's about 6 of us new coaches. We're all starry-eyed, trying to learn about coaching. I'll tell you what bloody coaching is. And they all talk about this thing called culture. I'll tell you what culture is. Culture's winning. And we say, oh, no, it can't be. He goes, yep, it's all about winning, because if you're winning, the board's happy, the media's happy, the players are happy, the coaches are happy. If the coaches are happy and the players are happy, their missus are happy, then everyone's happy. So just win.
And do you still believe that?
And now, obviously, it's not all about that, right? But because you've got to create an environment to ensure that you're winning and pick the players that you're sure that they're winning. But ultimately, that's what it comes down to, because we all know this as well. If you're winning, everyone's like, oh, you got a great culture in the team. If you're losing, they say, oh, you got such a bad culture in the team. So, so when it came to creating environment, you pick the right people. And I always say, are they good players and are they good blokes? And at London Spirit, we were, Kane Williamson's the captain, got some really good people, and then you get to work.
Do you have to balance your style differently between franchise? You're extremely successful with Australia. You took over 2018 after the sort of Sandpapergate. You had a huge responsibility on dragging that sort of team out of a very tough period, which from the outside looked like you did purely on culture, really. Ended up retaining the Ashes 2019, won it in 21-22 in record time, won a T20 World Cup. Was that based more on like the mindset, the culture, dragging the team close to the supporters once again?
Yeah, no doubt, Broady. There was... I think if I look back on my coaching career, I started I was an assistant coach or a batting coach, and then I coached Western Australia and the Scorchers in Australia, and it was almost my dream job, because the thing about coaching, if you want to do it, you've got to go away a lot, because if you coach internationally, you're obviously away most of the year. If there's very few dream jobs, and that was my dream job, because I was in Western Australia and coaching all West Australian cricket and coaching in the Big Bash. And that's all about you, because you have the guys 12 months of the year, and I loved every minute of that, because you can really develop something. And you would have to say that's been sustained for the last 10 years. So Adam Voges was my captain there, and then he went straight to being the head coach. I said, just make him head coach. He's never been a coach before. I said, don't worry. We've got a great system, great culture, and he's nailed it. It's been brilliant. Then you go to the Australian team internationally, and the difference there, so I go back to that. I was very lucky, because when I took over there, Australian cricket, West Australia was in a crisis mode as well, right? There'd been a few things going on, and that needed some sorting out. So I did that apprenticeship, and then of course Sandpapergate happened, and that was like, whoa. But I would not be talking to you two right now if I I'd be dead by now. I would literally have had a heart attack and died of stress by now. But luckily I had 7 years apprenticeship doing the West Australian job, go into Sandpapergate, and then of course COVID hit. So we had Sandpapergate where all of Australia, they hated the cricket team. Because Australians, believe it, you guys, we're convicts and all that sort of shit I hear from the Barmy Army. But one thing you don't do in Australia, you don't cheat. You play hard and you go hard and you compete, but you don't cheat. And the boys cheated, right? So, and the whole of Australia really turned against them. And the ramifications were huge. We lost, the chairman ended, the CEO ended, the high performance manager ended, the head coach, Darren Lehman, finished, the captain and the vice captain. So all your leadership is gone. And ultimately in cultures or in life, leadership is the number one aspect of performance, in my opinion. So that had all left. So that then became what I'd say about a more, what we talk about culture. It was about behaviours, it was about expectations, and we had to turn that around. And then I go, well, I'm talking a lot, sorry, but then you go to franchise cricket, and frankly, I'm just learning franchise cricket. I had 3 years break from coaching after the Australian team, got invited to coach in the IPL and now the 100. So I'm just getting my head around it, but they're very, very different beasts. There's no question about that.
JL, you mentioned, I think just before we started, 2019, you had a nice time in Manchester having dinner with Sir Alex Ferguson. So what's the sort of key tips? That must have been amazing, but I'm sure he talked a lot of leadership, and all of us in England, obviously, he's holding such a pedestal. That must have been pretty cool.
Oh, it was, mate. We just had Michael Vaughan organised it for us, actually. He's good mates with Gilly, and Vaughan said I was commentating for I was coaching. Sorry, of course, we were in Adelaide the year before for the Test series, and Vaughan was there, and we were talking about, and I said something about Alex Ferguson. He said, "What? You admire Sir Alex Ferguson?" I said, "Are you kidding me, mate? I've got his book on my desk at the Wacker, mate. Sir Alex Ferguson, mate, he's the king, and I don't even really follow football, to be honest." And he said, "Would you like to meet him?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll organise you a meeting if you like." And I said, "Oh yeah, whatever." Anyway, and it was arranged. There was the Ben Stokes, obviously the miracle match, the unbelievable victory that you guys had. So we're literally the worst day of my coaching career that night. I've never been in a darker place in my life than after that innings. And then we were due the day before that test match, the fourth test at Old Trafford. That was when I had planned to meet Sir Alex Ferguson. So we go there. I went there with Steve Waugh, who was over with us, and Sir Alex Ferguson, his best mate, and another guy. And the first we went to is a favourite Italian restaurant up in Manchester, lunchtime. And we were meant to train at 3 o'clock, right? As it turned out, I didn't go to training. The day before the fourth test, I did not go to training because I kept talking to Sir Alex Ferguson. It was so flipping cool. I was ringing our assistant coach, I'm not coming. You guys organised the last day before.
Anyway, it was good wine, was it?
Huh?
It was good wine.
Well, just in case I got there, I stayed off the wine, boy. And I know you love wine. If it was a dinner date, I reckon we would have had an even better time. But, oh, mate. But the first thing he says to me, walk in, and within 30 seconds of meeting Sir Alex Ferguson, right, we're just standing in the foyer waiting to go to house. He goes, just remember, son, truth works. I said, pardon? He goes, truth works. Always tell the truth. And I thought, fuck, there's my next tattoo. How cool is that? Truth works. And then that was his first pearl of wisdom. And then there was a couple of others that he shared with me. One was, when we lose, the first thing I would always do is I would always go and sit in my office and I'd ask myself a simple question: what could I have done different as the coach? He said what most people do is they said, he should have done that, he should have done that, she should have done that, he should, and they point through everyone else. But the first thing you got to do is ask yourself, you're the leader, what you could have done different, and then go from there. Great advice. So truth works. Analyse what you can do before you point fingers at everyone else. And then he's told me some other great advice. But then he talked about the media, how he used to deal with the media. He was a legend with the media. Make sure you tell the media what you want them to hear, not what they want you to tell them. Great advice. Not all that. And then the last thing was brilliant. He said, we often worry about cutting players from our team. And that is a very cutthroat business, right? The EPL. We always worry about cutting people, and especially the stars from our team. But if they don't fit into your culture, if they don't fit into your expectations, you've got to cut them, right? But then he said, what most people do is they worry, oh, what if they go and be a star somewhere else? Or what if they come back and they play a good game against you? But he said, this is the clincher. He said, if you cut them, you've only got to think about them for 2 days of the year. You don't have to think about them every day of the year. And there's people in your team you think about every day of the year, they drive you flipping mad. They don't keep you awake at night. So he said, cut them. You've only got to worry about them 2 days when you play against them, and then you can do something to stop them kicking a goal or whatever. And it's great advice. We often get so caught up in holding on to people because worry about what they might do somewhere else. No. And it's, as a coach, you've got to get the right people. And if you haven't got the right people, eventually you've got to cut them. And when you do, it's like a sea breeze through the whole organisation.
Yeah, that's great advice. I wasn't going to bring it up, actually, Stokes' innings in 2019, but as you mentioned it, we'll have a little chat about it. Was that one of the, the emotions gone of it, of being the coach, was that one of the best knocks you've seen in Test match cricket?
And it's really interesting because we had U-Mob 9 down, and I remember I think it was, how many they need? 70 to win still?
Yeah, 78.
And I remember we're all cock-a-hoop, like everyone's up in the change room and everyone's all happy and, they're just about to put beer on ice. And I remember I was saying to all our coaches, I said, boys, until Stokes is out, this is not over. And they're going, yeah, whatever, coach, you're an idiot. I said, trust me, until Stokes is out, this is not over. I think Jos had been run out, so we're going, fuck, how good is that? So we're on you got run out, didn't you, Jos?
Yeah, Stokesy ran me. I'd have knocked him off, but Stokesy ran me out.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So I thought, if I'm going to go through some misery, you can go through some misery for this few minutes for not being the hero, okay? So I remember when you got run out, it was one of the greatest. I've never felt happier in my life because I thought you were the one one bloke who was going to destroy us. So I saw the back of you, so I said, beauty. So I'm starting to feel a bit confident. But 9 down, 70 runs, and then that innings, oh my God. And he just kept smacking them. And then we did this documentary called The Test. It was on Amazon, and it was on that series. And there's a scene, and we were allowed talking about values and culture, I was allowed to look at some of the final cuts. And I remember I was out the front of my house and the producer or director rings me, goes, "What do you think?" I said, "There's one scene in this documentary that you cannot put in. You've got to cut out." He said, "Which bit?" I said, "When Nathan Lyon missed that run out from Ben Stokes." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Because I kicked the bin. I booted the bin, and there's bloody bottles going everywhere, and there's and I said, "You've got to cut." People think I'm a flipping psycho. He said, "Yeah, but you see what you did next?" I said, "What do you do next?" Nathan Lyon, it was like throwing a piece of meat, misses this run out. "What do you mean what I did next? It was the easiest bit of thing I've ever." He said, "You picked up all the bottles, mate." I said, "What do you mean I picked up all the bottles?" He goes, "Look at the scene." He said, "One of your guys' values after Sandpaper was humility. You kicked the bin, there's shit everywhere, and you picked up all the bottles and put them back in the bin with 3 runs to get." And it was funny because a lot of people that watched the documentary said, "Mate, what about when you kicked the bin and then picked up all the bottles?" So there you go. But yeah, it was an unbelievable innings. And, you know, I say then, I'll get back to Ben Stokes in a second because what happened next. But I remember that night, I was in a room by myself and my missus, I was FaceTime my wife back in Australia. She goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm drinking." She goes, "You drink? What do you drink?" I said, "I'm drinking scotch." And she said, "You don't drink?" I said, "Fuck, I do tonight, baby." I was sitting in my room drinking scotch. It was literally the lowest moment of my whole probably cricket career. I could not, but as a coach, I could not, because that's the Ashes there. And then it was just the way it happened. It's like, oh man, it was it was an and it was people. That's great for the game and all this sort of shit, but it wasn't great for my soul that night.
You know, your Alex Ferguson thing. You know, what would you do differently? Like, I think you like made. Didn't you all watch it back and stuff? And like, what would you have done differently in that situation? Or is it just one of those days that it was just a miracle that and Stokesy was too good?
Yeah, good question. I think because what a lot of people don't remember, you remember Jos and Broady, that the night before that game was the Stokes' bowling spell. No one remembers that. No one talks about.
15 in a row.
Remember, I think Joff had gone off with cramp or something in his leg, and Stokesy just bowled and bowled and bowled, and they're getting to the point going, "Mate, come on, like you can't keep going." And then he got Matthew Wade out, right? So we were flying. We were 4 down or whatever. Matthew had been playing well. He got Matthew Wade, I think he bowled him a bouncer or caught behind or something. So that drags Tim Payne out. When we were cruising, and then he got Tim Payne out. So all of a sudden we're 6 down or 7 down or whatever. And no one ever talks about this, the Stokes bowling the day before his innings. So what would I do different? I think that was a really significant part, that there's always those moments. It doesn't matter if it's 100 cricket or test cricket, there's always significant moments, right? And then we always talk about staying calm, under pressure, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm. What we would have done, and we were terrible at our referrals, and we never got it right. And we had to get a process in place for our referrals, and then panicking or under pressure. Remember, we referred that LBW
off Leachy, yeah,
right? And it was missing by miles. And we're sitting up in the box going, "Mate, like seriously?" And then there was the LBW from Ben Stokes, which is plumb. It literally pitched middle, hit middle, and the umpire gave it not out. We didn't have any referrals left. So I think staying cool under pressure is number one, and clinching those big moments. And the night before for me was as big a moment as the final, the miracle innings.
I remember that, actually. I remember thinking, you could have put the game to bed, made us 470, 500, and it just kept getting out in different ways. I remember Leachy bowled one through the gate to Harris, and just as we were getting flat, we got a wicket, and it was definitely that feeling. So it gave us something with the ability to chase. But you mentioned the Amazon doc. England cricket, I think, have turned down different things at times to get inside the ropes, so to speak, inside the walls of the change room. Is that something you enjoyed? Did you like having that visibility? Or as a coach, you just prefer to do your own thing?
Well, first I had no idea we were doing it. I did my press conference in it when I was appointed to the Australian cricket role. I flew to Melbourne from Perth, and I had to be back, so I had a commitment that I had to be back for the next day. So I fly there, get in the taxi on the way from the Melbourne hotel where we did the press conference to the airport, and there's this dude sitting in the cab next to me with a camera, and he's asking me all these questions. I thought it must have just been for another interview to save time to da-da-da-da and go on the Cricket Australia website or whatever. Anyway, no stress, thought nothing of it. Then we come to England for that first one-day series when I was coach, and the same dude rocks up on the plane. I'm going, what are you doing here? He goes, I'm doing the documentary. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, yeah, we're doing a documentary on you for the next 12 months or 18 months. I had no idea. And then I got back from England, and then I knew about this documentary, and he was there. It was good though, because he's a stand-up comic as well. We had one cameraman did the whole documentary. It was bizarre, and he was a stand-up comic as his other profession. So he became part of the family, and every day he did a joke of the day for us. And that was for 18 months. I don't know how this is a cool skill, right? He would come up with a joke every flipping day. So and he'd film every waking moment. So we get home from the first series, and I literally start getting anxiety because I'm thinking, fuck, what are they going to put in this document? I know they're doing it. And then you think about some of the stuff you talk about, some of the things you say. I'm going, oh my God, like, how are we going to get portrayed? And he was with us for 18 months, literally every day for 18 months. And as it turned out, the documentary was a great success, but there was anxious moments. And I'd also, as good a bloke as he was, the day he stopped, it was like the whole world was off. I'm not sure how everyone else, I can only speak for myself. The whole world was off our shoulders because you could just be normal again.
Yeah, I get that.
I thought there'd be more production than just one guy. That's quite amazing.
No,
actually.
it was unbelievable. One cameraman did the whole thing, and then they send all the vision back to Melbourne or whatever, and they produced what was a great. It's amazing. I was at the Lords the other day, and we were throwing some balls before the game, and I reckon 4 or 5 English kids, and all separate, said, I saw you in the documentary. I saw you in the test. And then you go to India, holy shit, I reckon 1 billion Indians have watched the documentary. They loved it. They, honestly, mate, they can recite stuff that happened in the documentary. So from that point of view, it was positive, but actually at the time it was intrusive, but it's the way the world we live in now, isn't it? I mean, some of the docos on the different sports are awesome to watch. So it's just the way of the world, I guess.
I love that bit where David Warner's trying to get the in Sri Lanka, the bottles of water have the plastic and you can't get them off the lid. And he's got out and he's trying to get this bottle of water. I've done that 1,000 times. Just cannot get that bit of plastic off that bottle. But when you've just got out and you're frustrated, he throws the bottle of water. That really made me smile. I love seeing batters get angry when they get out.
Oh, it's pretty funny, is it? Oh, yeah. No worries, mate. Oh, yeah, good on you. Oh, you love seeing it, do you? Yeah, no worries.
I love it.
I was going to say, for all that you've achieved in your career, and everyone knows you for now kicking a bin in an Amazon dock.
Yeah, that's right.
No, picking the bottles up, mate. Picking
them up. Yeah, that's the good bit. So you're going from and I was worried, they're going to think I'm a psycho. Yeah. But then pick them up, and because you feel, but it's like getting angry when you get out, Broady. Like I was no good at it, right? I used to get grumpy as, whew. And it's the things you regret about in life, but getting grumpy when you get out. I still regret some of it. But at the time, it's like you're a little kid. You know when you're a little kid playing cricket and your brother gets you out, you want to keep batting. Well, you go to a test match and you want to keep batting. I've been practicing all this time. I'm in front of a big crowd. I fucking love it. I'm living the dream here. And you're telling me I've got a big knob like you gets me out. I've got to walk off. One, you're laughing at me and giving me a send-off. Then I've got to sit there and go, oh, fuck this. Mate, seriously, like getting out is no good. It's like losing. No good.
I remember doing, I was 12th man for JL, you were my captain, obviously, when I first started at Somerset. And I played maybe a couple of games under you. I actually made my debut when you missed out injured. But in the next game, you came back and I was 12th man. And Jack Shantry got you out. Do you remember Jack Shantry, a left-arm seamer from Worcester? And they had these like sliding doors in the pavilion at Somerset. And as JL's got out, they're like, youngster, go and shut the doors. I'm like, what? He's going to go wild here. Absolutely. What? So I've got to jump up, shut these doors. And you're going around the dressing room going, I've faced them all. Wazzy Makram, Shoaib Akhtar, Waka. And you get out to Jack fucking Chantry. And I reckon the whole ground is like looking up at the pavilion going,
well, if Jack Chantry's listening to this, I'm sorry, buddy. I don't mean, it's just emotion at the time. But it's funny you say that, Jos, because that they used to have a silver bin in the, one of those silver bins that you step on, and it was a real tall silver in the Taunton dressing room. And I kicked it or smashed it one day. Anyway, as soon as I went, well, what have you done, you idiot, like you always do? I rang my missus, who was I said, babe, you got to go to, I don't know, Marks or somewhere, and you got to buy this silver bin. So she walked into the ground after with a brand new silver bin because I felt so bad that I'd smashed the bin in the thing. It's funny though, because it's funny talking to you two now, because you're right, Jos, you made your debut when I can't remember, I missed the game, and you made your debut, and I remember meeting your family that day when you made your debut, which was awesome. And Broady, I remember, and I'm not sure what Ashes it was, but you bowled to us as a net bowler, right, at Leicester?
2005, yeah.
Was it 2005? Okay, I thought it was, anyway. So Broady bowls to us in the nets, Jos, as a net bowler this year. How old were you in 2005?
18.
18, this big gangly kid, blonde hair, probably had earrings then, did you? And, look, a bit of a Julio. And anybody come in, and we were all going, and we were so nice. I thought hopefully we're really nice to you, because we're going,
yeah, it's
holy
brilliant.
shit.
Brilliant experience,
This kid can bowl, right? And then you played there was an injury or something. You played the next game, right? Did you get 5 for in that game against us?
So I bowled the day before as a net ball. You get the opportunity to come and bowl the Aussie. I was like, yeah, absolutely. You bowl for like a couple of hours. And then someone went down, and I played the next day for Leicestershire. Did we borrow Chris Rogers off you as well? Or we put out sort of a team. I remember I got Gilchrist. I think, did I get Gilchrist through the gate? And then Brett Lee? I was absolutely buzzing. Like that was dream world for me.
Yeah. So it's funny. That's the beautiful thing about the game is I see you two guys as kids, the end of my career, and then you watch it all develop, and now we're sitting on a podcast now. That's what I love about the game of cricket, right? So after when we talked about being in North London, I stayed with a guy by the name of Nigel Ray, who for a long time still is to a degree involved with the Saracens. He's like my second family now. And after this, I went to his daughter Lucy's wedding in Biarritz 12 years ago, and the first week of September, I'm going to their son's wedding in France as well, like in a couple of weeks' time. So it's so cool how the game of cricket offers you the opportunity to meet mates, and we're commentating, right, Broady, this summer, right?
Yeah, we are.
And mate, you are going to have so much fun. You are going to with the 7 crew, and it's just I just love how it all comes together with this really fortunate with the game of cricket that we've all been able to play.
And Jack Chantry, I think, is now umpiring in the 100s, so the London Spirits are going to get hit on the surfboards, and away they go. Thanks for coming.
Oh, no.
7 LBWs coming your way, hopefully. But
there's a couple of them. There's a couple of umpires who are pretty serious over here, right? That I've just noticed in the 100. So maybe one of them is Jack Chantry. I can't remember Jack.
No, he's got your number. That's why. For all those years ago.
See, that's right. The fucking wolf finger up. See you later. It's like Blackie. I was always petrified of it when Blackie Ian Blackwell became an umpire, because, oh my God, any team I was coaching, the finger would have been straight up over and over.
Still to come, we'll ask JL about the 2005 Ashes 20 years on. Don't go anywhere.
Laithwaites are proud partners for the love of cricket.
Official wine partners.
That's the one. They love cricket, so do we. So they're on board.
You've got your own collection with Laithwaites.
Beyond the Wicket, series of wines by Stuart Broad, even a nice little signature there. But it's been a real passion project for me. Wines from all over the cricketing world. Great memories of playing cricket in these places. And that's where this collection came from, really. Just the memories of that, putting them into bottles of wine. And you like the odd glass of wine, don't you?
Yeah, I like a glass of wine.
Keep holding
the Stuart Broad wine. Good food, good company. It's always nice to spend time with family and friends and a good bottle of wine.
And Beyond the Wicket isn't the only case you can buy. We've put together our own case for the love of cricket. It's going to be 3 whites for your love of white ball cricket, Jose, and 3 reds for my love of test match cricket. Available exclusively from laithwaites.co.uk.
So pour yourself a glass.
Settle in and join us for the love of cricket and a good bottle of wine with Laithwaites.
20 years ago was the '05 Ashes. Was that probably the most exposure you'd seen in a Test match series?
That was an unbelievable advertisement for Test cricket, 2005. And what a series. I remember getting on the plane on the way home. First, I remember watching all the celebrations after, and that, because we were at that time, we were a great team. My gosh, I mean, you had Gilly at 7, Warne and McGrath, Ponting, Haydos. You know, what a team it was, and to lose it, that really stung us. But I remember getting off on the plane on the way, and it was like, it almost felt, I say this with absolute respect, but it was like swimming into a tidal wave for 6 weeks. Because and it'd be the same for England, I'm sure, in Australia, but over here, if England start getting on top of you, you guys start getting on top of us, it is relentless. The media, the crowds, it is exhausting. And that series particularly, and then I was with Fraser Stewart last night. I played golf with him, who's from the MCC, and he said it was the greatest day of his life.
Really?
That when the KP innings, Kevin Peterson innings, and that day was the best day of his life. And he talked about it in his wedding speech. He was telling me this is the second best day of my life. The best day of my life was when Kevin Peterson got 100 against the Aussies, and they ended up winning the Test series. So, yeah, mate, that was Test cricket at its greatest. And it was intense, and it was hard, and it was brilliant.
And Warne at his greatest as well. Like, what an entertainer he was in that series.
Best thing I ever did in my cricket career was play cricket with Shane Warne. And mainly when you had him and McGrath, you won most games. Like very few games. And it was funny though, because, and I was talking about this last night as well with Fraser Stewart about his greatest memory. Mine was when Warne dropped KP for naught, and it wound us up because, you know, KP and Warne, they were the two rock stars, and they'd go to concerts together, and they'd be seeing Chris Martin together, and they go shopping, and they got Gucci bags together, and they got Prada fucking sunglasses together, and they're on the front pages. They're all best mates, and then he dropped him for naught, and we're going, oh, here we go. And then that was close to the best innings I've ever seen in my life, under pressure. And like Brett Lee was bowling quick, and there was KP I'm sure he does remember this, but KP just before lunch got hit somewhere, and it was like a football player going down. It was like, oh mate, because he wanted to take a bit of time off, so he got to lunch. It was like bees, Aussie bees swat, because he was only about 4. I ran from deep backwards, square leg, fine leg, ran down. We were all right, come on, you get up, you mate, soft, get on with it, da-da-da. And then we gave it to him, this kid with the bloody funny hair and shit. We gave it to him. That was the old days of, mate, full-blown, well, they love the word sledging, don't they? But, mate, it was, and then he came out, holy shit. He hit a shot off Brett Lee. He pulled a ball off Brett Lee, who's bowling quick. Binger was flying, and he pulled him back through mid-on. It was like took your breath away. Then he started hooking it, and they're going miles. They're getting top edges. Then he's hitting in the mid. They're going further and further. That was and stood up on those balls, and he hit through backward point and through the covers off the bat. Mate, that was an unbelievable innings. Yeah, great series, Broady.
I've watched that DVD 05 about 1,000 times. You actually just inspired me to watch it again. I think that's my afternoon. Get that DVD out, watch it again.
I've never watched it. I'm not watching it.
What was different about that England team? Like, you obviously played against a lot of England sides, and going into that series, obviously you say you're part of the greatest Australian team, or one of them. At that point, you probably fully expected to win, but expecting
Great question.
Was there something different?
Yeah, momentum, confidence, and that's why I was fascinated. We'll talk about the upcoming Ashes, but I thought this was a big series for England versus India going into the Australian, which is coming up. So, but the reason I say that is I remember really clearly England were having great success leading up to it. you know, they were winning and they came confident, right? And I was the fortunate one. It's really interesting because, and I watched Zach Crawley, the last Ashes here. I love watching the first ball of the Ashes. I remember Zach Crawley pumped that drive. The Aussies had a really strange field setting from ball one of the Ashes, and he pumped that cover drive. Wash, okay, it's on here. But the reason I say that, the very first ball I faced against Harmison in that Test series. So, and you guys have lived it, and I only saw it firsthand from a spectator's point of view. Last year, I was here for the Test match, and it goes silent. You know, the first ball of the Test match at Lord's, like nowhere else in the whole world, everywhere else the noise goes the other way. Like people are sort of getting louder as the bowler, it goes silent. And I was facing the ball going, so I said, what's happening? Because everything went completely silent. Anyway, Harmison bowled the first ball of that series, and it flew past my nose, and Geraint Jones took it above his head. And I remember a couple of things happened. Whoever was fielding at bat pads walking towards me, the guy at points walking towards me, the slips, was like everyone was walking towards me as if to say, fuck, it's on here. And I remember Haydos walking down and going, mate, be sharp, little fella, they're on here. After the first ball of the Ashes, they are on here. And I went, oh, yeah, no worries. And the next ball, the second ball hit me on the elbow, and it like blew up like a tennis ball. And I don't like, because everyone thinks, you know, opening batters are tough and stuff, but I actually didn't feel it. But I had this massive, it must have hit a blood vessel, and I literally had a tennis ball on my elbow. But I didn't feel it, like there was nothing. But I sort of played it up a bit because I think, oh, geez, how tough's he? Like, he's still batting, right? But that was the second ball. And then, I don't know if you remember, Haydos got hit on the helmet in that first spell. I've never seen Matthew Hayden get hit on the head once. Haydos get hit on the helmet. And then Punter got hit under the eye, and he's bleeding under the eye, and he's still got the scar today, right? This all happened in the first hour of, it was the best hour of cricket I've ever seen. That was the first session. So my point was, Jos, that England, they were up and about. Mate, you could feel it. It was this mindset. And then we ended up winning that test in 2.5 days, right? But England still, they still had the, okay, they've beaten us here, but and then McGrath stepped on the ball, but England had that mindset. They had that killer instinct, and we knew it. We could feel it. Freddie was on fire. Freddie's in the top 3 bowlers I ever faced in my life, and he was on. And, you know, the momentum was building within. England had a good fast bowling attack. They played well. So, yeah, I think that's what it was. Momentum, confidence leading into this, and they had that killer instinct that we had taken it to the Aussies, and they did.
Okay, folks, in a moment, we'll ask Justin for his take on Bazball, right after this.
The business of cricket is powered by Sage, the official accounting software partner of the 100. This summer, Sage will champion small businesses across the nation, and we're excited to work with them to shine a light on the amazing entrepreneurs from the world of cricket. To find out how you can grow your small business with AI-enabled tools like Sage Copilot, visit sage.com. We're delighted to welcome Julian Wood to For the Love of Cricket. Julian, tell us what you do and how it all started.
My business is the JW Cricket Academy, but I'm probably known sort of for in the cricketing world as the power hitting man, really.
How did you develop this into a business?
A good friend of mine went to live in the States. He introduced me on the back of this. He introduced me to a guy called Scotty Culbra, who was the hitting coach for the Texas Rangers. I spent a week with the Texas Rangers, which was really cool. But one thing these guys did, they hit the ball seriously hard, and they were different. They were built differently. And then I came back, and Graham Thorpe was the England batting coach, and it must have looked a bit dodgy. I met him in a car park, showed him this stuff, and he went, wow, this is quite groundbreaking.
The 100's on at the minute. Tell us some of the players you've worked with, and is it a challenge batting in a different format?
Someone like Liam Livingstone. Livy hits the ball hard, right? And you get players who hit the ball hard. I won't make them hit the ball hard because they hit it hard. And I look at these guys, I look at how I can make their miss hits better. With the power hitting side of it, obviously the 100, boundaries are massive now. It's all about, it's boundary counts. T20 cricket now, every 6 you hit gives you 3 dots. Every 4 you hit gives you 2 dots. So it sort of creates time.
What are the main challenges you face in running this as a business?
Okay, so with the business, right? The power hitting system it's like a brand, right? I've got a really strong brand, right? Which it is, but I'm the brand. So me setting up 3 different venues doesn't work because hang on a minute, where's Woody? So, but that's the life of a freelance coach, you see. So but I quite enjoy it. I enjoy that buzz of it. It gives me a real buzz.
Best of luck with your business, Julian. What do you think about the series coming up in Australia? Always tough to go away. As you've talked about, you arrive in England, the momentum, the feeling that the crowd are on you. What do you get the sense of this series coming away? How the team's shaping up?
And this will probably make a headline, but I'll write it, so I'll claim it anyway. But I just wonder, England, to win in Australia, like if you look at the 2 teams at the moment, one, Australia are grappling with the top 3, and that's rare for an Australian cricket team. They are grappling, and that's, I never want to go into a big series not knowing who your top 3 are. And at the moment, Australia are grappling with that. That's just reality. I mean, they brought Sam Constas in last year. He was the talk of the town, and then they didn't play him in Sri Lanka, and then they played him. Then they played him in really tough conditions in West Indies recently. Australia beat a weak West Indian team, which is a whole podcast in itself. But
I don't think George Bailey even knows what the top 3 is. I don't think anyone knows what the top 3 will be.
No, see, in my view now, and I don't have to worry about it. The hardest thing about coaching the Australian cricket team is selecting it, because you can't win, right? And I learned within a few months, because if I pick whoever from Victoria, I should have picked him from New South Wales. I picked him from New South. There's a real thing, and I'm sure there must be parts of that over here in England, but it's really hard. Australia, they bought Cameron Green at number 3 and he did well. And I think they have to stick with him now. They have to stick with him because he did well. He was probably in really tough conditions in West Indies, he did well. So they're probably, and if he starts bowling again, he had that operation on his back. He had the stress fracture in his back. He had the operation in New Zealand. He's starting to bowl again. So that'll be a big bonus if they got him and Bo Webster playing. But I think they've got to play Cameron Green at 3. I honestly, they've got to find a spot for Marnus Labuschagne.
Agreed. Yeah.
With his experience, and he'll work it out. I mean, he's had a little break from the game. I think he got a bit defensive in his game. He's aware of that, but he's played 50 tests now. He's got to be in there. So, but how they're going to mix this up, fascinating. But that one point I make is that not being secure in their top 3 coming into the Ashes is an area that I'm sure England are going to be licking their lips at the moment. Second, England's batting is, mate, there's some talent there, right? But they're up against, you could say,
one of the best groups of all time in a
Of
sense.
all time. Yeah, of all time. And I think Nathan Lyon, I said it in the Ashes here, when Nathan Lyon went down, I thought that was the end of the series because he's the missing link. The one area that England at the moment don't seem to have like our top 3 is a spin bowler. And in Australia, you must have a spin bowler. And the temptation always is to come to Australia and play 4 quicks because you'll see the wicket. But you must, to win in Australia, you must, in my opinion, from watching a lot of cricket, you must have a spin bowler who's going to, at the very least, hold up an end for the quicks.
Yeah.
And if you do what Lyon did, I didn't realise Nathan Lyon was so good until I started coaching the Australian cricket team. He is a gun. He is a gun cricketer because he's hard to score off, and he takes wickets and he gets the bounce in Australia. So not to sit on the fence, I think it's going to be a really, really close series. I go back to that point. My question for England will be, have you got the killer instinct to finish off a series if you get a chance? And I've seen it, the 2-2 here, last Ashes series, 2-2 against India, when I think India, it was a good series, but England had their chances to win that series. Have you got the killer instinct to win the Ashes in Australia? That's going to be the big question.
I think a little advantage for England throughout my tour in cricket was always the Gabba first up. You're sort of arriving at Australia's home. It's aggressive. Their record there, I think England last got a result, or won in 86, 87. 2010, when we went and won there, we got a draw and we were absolutely thrilled with getting out of the Gabba. The first test isn't there. It's at the Optus in Perth. So I think that's a little bit of a psychological advantage for England, because that you're not in Brisbane, then you go back there for a pink ball, which I think the Aussies will win the pink ball. Stark and the bowlers are just so good with it. So England have to get a result at Perth. That's how I see it. They have to go in, play their best bowling attack, play their best team, and just go all out for the win at Perth and hit the Aussies hard. Because I think you're right, that top three, if you could play Wood, Archer, Atkinson, Stokes and Bashir at that top three, break into them, then the series is alive. But if Australia win the first, it's always a long way back, I think.
It's a really good point about the Brisbane Test. It was always a cauldron for us, and it has been and then it's no longer the first test there. And we lost to India a couple of series ago. Rishabh Pant played that incredible innings at the Gabba, but it was the fourth test during COVID, and it was the flattest wicket. But at that time of the year, in January, it was different than playing in November. So you're right, and we've lost that advantage, I think. That said, the Gabba, and it could. You're right. I mean, if Archer's playing, if Wood's playing, then that'll be a big opportunity. But that whacker wicket also, England going to have to. There's the Optus wicket. Sorry, there's still. It's just like playing at the old whacker. Good pace, good bounce. So
how do you see England's
will have to adapt to that?
How do you see like England's style and the way they bat and stuff going in Australia? Obviously, everyone's always seems to be sceptical of Bazball and stuff, but
what I believe, and I've believed this forever, and I always go back on, the only players who had success against Warne and McGrath were those who attacked them, who had the courage to attack them. Right? They got back in their face and they hated it because no one did it. Right? And they're the two greatest I played with. So you have to have that mindset. But you've got to have that mindset, and they've got to have that killer mindset to go into it. That said, I was only talking to Ollie Pope about it. I remember when Nathan Lyon hurt his calf muscle at Lords, the last series here, and I remember I was sitting with people watching. I said, "That's the end of the series. That's the series done." They said, "What do you mean?" I said, "He's so important." And I'd said the missing link of this series is Nathan Lyon, because he's a gun. He goes down, and then that next 2 hours of batting was the dumbest batting I've ever seen in my life. I nearly walked out of Lords as a cricket tragic. It was the dumbest batting I've ever seen in my life. That was the moment. And I know the test went close, and there was the Alex Carey incident and all that sort of stuff later in the test. But that 2 hours, and Australia started bouncing England, and blokes are running down and they're trying to hook. And Popey said to me the other day, I tried to pull one and got caught at square leg. That was the moment. That was the moment right then. So
could have drilled him into the ground. Could have got a huge lead.
That was it. 100% Broady, right?
I was feeling it. Don't worry. I was feeling it in the change room.
Yeah, I bet you guys were. I bet that, so that was a really important moment. So go back to your point about, call it Bazball or the aggressive approach. I think England must play that approach in Australia. No question, because it'll put pressure back on the aggressive. But that's going to take courage, because you got Stark bowling like he does. Hazelwood never misses the spot. Pat Cummins is a generational bowler. So it's going to take great courage. But if they can, that's the best chance. As we saw in the back half of the last Ashes series here, then that's going to be the best chance. So I love the approach, the positive approach. And England now, and Popey said it to me the other day, they're 2 years more experienced. They know that it can't just be all out attack all the time, but they've got to get that balance right.
No, I'm really excited about the series. It's just not often an England team goes to Australia and you think, oh, is there a chance here? Because Australia have been so dominant in their own conditions. It's really exciting. Thanks, Joe. Thanks for your time so much. We know you're a busy man. Just one bit of advice I need. I'm joining you on the 7 commentary team in Australia. How do I survive as a Pom?
Oh, especially you, Broady.
They're going to throw you to the wolves.
You got one big advantage, Broady. Now you're one of the brothers to Langer.
I've got you and Haydos either side of me.
Haydos, Ponting, Kadic.
Yeah.
And no one messes with our brothers, mate. So now you're in. I remember John T. Rhodes 2 years ago. John T. Rhodes came to, he commentated with us, and he kept saying, "Oh my God, I've never seen anything like this," because we are literally like brothers. And it's the coolest. He said, with all our South African guys, we never talk to each other, we never see each other. And you guys go out to dinner every night, you have a beer every night, you play golf together, and it's the best. That's why it's my favourite job of the year, because for 6 weeks I'm with my best mates. We're talking cricket. The great thing, as you guys know, Jos, you will find out one day, is that the last ball of the game is bowled, and then you're in your jeans and your T-shirt, and 20 minutes later you're back having a beer. You don't have to think about the game at all. When you're head coach, you don't sleep because you're thinking about the game 24 hours a day. When you're a player, you're always thinking about it. When you're a commentator, mate, how cool is it? Last ball's bowled, righto, boys, where are we going for a beer? Oh,
Jay, I've spent the last 2 years trying to tell people commentary's hard.
Mate, seriously, you are now I know you're a bullshit artist, because it is the best job in the world.
It's amazing.
Hard,
Isn't it?
like
It's
seriously.
amazing.
Yeah, maybe you got to travel around the country a bit, and mate. And so don't worry, you'll have all the brothers, all have the Channel 7 brothers with you, Broady, and anyone gives you a hard time, then
He's going to hold you to
the day
this.
before we wouldn't. We'd throw you out to the wolves. Yeah, he is a knob, the bloody pommy knob who talks shit. Now, no, don't talk. Hey, he's one of us now, because you're in Channel 7 commentary box. Mate, you'll be fine. Don't worry, it's going to be great.
I'm excited. This at all, Broady.
One of the brothers. You just joined the brotherhood, mate.
Jose, why don't you come as well? Let's just go as a group.
I think JL's just like reeling you in. You're going to get there all nice and comfy. He says he'll come and pick you up at the airport. You'll land like nowhere to be seen. Just he's told about 100 like yobs to come and meet you.
I'll be doing an interview in Bay 13 at the MCG on Boxing Day.
Are you?
No, I'll say that's where you'll lob me. That's where you'll shove me.
Actually, I'm just about to send Jonesy and Jolie. I'm going to send a message to them right now. I don't know if I'm on air here, but I'm going to send it and saying, I've got this awesome idea. Let's get Broady, Boxing Day, Bay 13, do an interview. I'm doing it.
I'm all over it. I would love it, as long as I can have a beer in there.
Yeah, well, Richie Benno used to. Who was it? Our Prime Minister, Bob Hawke, he went over there and he sculled a pint of beer. And they thought, because he was one of our most popular Prime Ministers, went to Bay 13 and sculled a pint of beer over there. And they thought he was the greatest bloke of all time. So there you go.
Copy that.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. Come up with some more good ideas and you'll be right.
Oh, brilliant. JL, thanks so much for your time. Great to see you, great to hear from you, and catch you soon.
Great for the chat. See you guys.
That's it for this week.
Thanks to our legendary guest, Justin Langer.
And to our partners, Sage and Laithwaites.
Please follow us on Instagram, YouTube and TikTok.
And we'll see you next time.